Good morning. My name is LouAnn and welcome to my kitchen. That coffee's a brewing and you know there is some iced tea in that ice box. But with it being fall now, I could get that tea kettle on, which it's already on because of the recipe we're making for my mama's recipe collection. Part of her collection, it was a handwritten recipe. Where she got it, I have no idea. So I do have water going, and I do have my Christmas apron on. One that I had made and got from one of those panels you can make aprons. I don't know if they still make those. Do they still make those? So in a measuring cup, I got about between 3/4 to a cup of raisins. And this recipe is raisin bread, and I got to cover it with some boiling water to puff them up for about 15 minutes before we drain them. It says 5 ounces of raisins. It says about 1/3 of the box in the recipe. So we're going to do that, and it says for 15 minutes it's got to soak. So I'm going to do that first, and of course find me a loaf pan and grease it. And I do have my oven preheating at 350 degrees, just FYI. So while we're waiting for our raisins to puff up, that is why we got them in boiling water, I'm going to go ahead and start mixing this up. So we got 3 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar. Yeah, 3 cups of flour. And 4 teaspoons of baking powder and a teaspoon of salt. And I am going to kind of mix these dry ingredients real fast. And then there is no eggs in this recipe. So I'm going to get those mixed up. And then I'm going to go get my other ingredient. And we're going to mix this up a little bit before we add our raisins while we're waiting. So the next ingredient is 1.5 cups of milk. To this, and I call for skim milk. I'm just using whole milk. So there is 1 cup. Now I got to get 1/2 cup. And I'm going to go ahead and mix this up while we're waiting for the raisins to puff up. So I have drained the raisins, and it says to plot them dry and before we add them to our batter. And of course I do have my batter all mixed, and all we have to do is add our raisins and put it in our greased loaf pans. And I may add, this is fall into baking 25. So I'm going to add this to my mixer. And I'm sorry, there is no light above where my mixer is, so I'm not going to show you that. So I'll be right back, and I'll show you what it looks like in the pan. So this recipe created 2 of the smaller loaf pans, so I'm going to go ahead and bake them both at the same time. I may eventually have to cover them with aluminum foil. I hope not, but we shall see. They got to bake for 1 hour at 350 degrees, and that is Fahrenheit. Now let them cool off.